Hello students, welcome to the example 1 video for week 4. So we will be creating this little faucet picture. So I'm also going to be switching between these two screens because I don't have my Xcel screen at the moment. But I still encourage you to have the reference screen in front of you. Important to note, due to so few students actually watching the example videos in preparation for last week, we are going to implement a system to make sure that you actually, or to see who actually watches the videos. But I will say more about that later in the video to get you to actually watch this video. Isn't that fun? Okay, so let's get started with this. So I'm going to just suppress this finished one and create a new sketch. I'm just going to show my datum system so that I actually know where to add my sketch. There we go. So I'll just use this view again. It's a 2D sketch. It doesn't matter where you start. Okay, so I'm going to start with this arch because I want to make this the origin of my sketch. Because you can see a lot of it works better if it's from this point. You see these are in line with it and this is the center and all that. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with this arch. So let's use the profile tool and select the arch. And then I'm going to just create it below here, like that. That should be fine. Then I have another little arch. And why is it not realizing? There we go. And there we go. It should be, I'm just going to make it like that. And then I'm going to make this horizontal line. Then we have another little arch going down. I don't want it constrained to weird stuff, but this constraint here is just making it basically go down so that it will be tangent with the vertical, so that's what we want. And now we decided to throw a fit about that, so we'll just add that again. Let's just add it without any constraints, and we'll add the constraints in later. Okay, now it wants to make it parallel for some reason. We'll just remove that. You'll see NX adds a bunch of weird constraints. Just remove them and go on with your life. Okay, so now we're adding the little vertical line, and yeah, it's about like 40, so it's pretty close to that. Yeah, 41, it's fine. Add that one, add our little other arch, which doesn't realize. There we go. Add that one, add this line. It's a bit shorter than the other one. Curve this one up, and then we go up a little bit. Go to the side, way to the side, go down, add this arch, add our other arch. Hello, there we go. Now that looks fine. Then we go down a bit, go to the side a bit, let's go up a bit. Now we have our curve again. You'll notice I'm not really looking at the reference sketch a lot because I've made this one a few times, so I just know what it looks like. That's why I said you should have it in front of you so that you can consult it. Add the horizontal line, then add the final little arch, which goes, there we go, to this one. So now we have our base of our faucet. It's a bit wonky, but that's fine. We're going to be constraining it now. So you see a bunch of auto dimensions. So the only time it's okay to have this many auto dimensions is when you're busy with creating a profile. If you're busy doing single lines at a time, then constrain as you go. Okay, so first I'm going to just say, okay, these three should be collinear. So that is those two lines and the horizontal vector of the origin. I'm going to make those collinear. And some of you were in class were confused about creating constraints like this because we showed you clicking C and having options of constraints. If you select multiple things and you keep your mouse in one place, it will show this little box and you can move it towards it and it will suggest a few constraints. So that's a nice option to have. Okay, but moving on. So we have this nice in one line. So now we can move this point over to the origin, but now I can see, I can't click on that. This is in the way. So we right click again and then select sketch origin and just select this point again, make them coincident. Wonderful. I'm going to make these tangent real quick because I see that's going to cause some problems. There we go, those are tangent, and these are also not tangent yet. You can see the tangent from that little line going like that. So I'm just going to make these ones tangent. So now I can make this radius 15. So add that, and it automatically scales everything down because I haven't added any other dimensions yet. So that's always nice. Sort of messes up with this one that I actually put in sort of accurately, but it is what it is. So now these curves are both have a radius of 10. So I'm going to add those in. First I'm going to say, okay, this radius and this radius, they should be equal radii. There we go. And everything is still fine, nothing has broken yet. This one's a bit close to breaking. If stuff gets too small, then they start going in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to move this so that it's a larger radius. And now I realize, oh, this one's not constrained to be horizontal. So be horizontal. Oh yes, and these parallel constraints. So now this one's horizontalness is constrained by this one's horizontalness. So if I get rid of this line, this breaks. So I'm going to say, no, you should actually be horizontal in and of yourself. Okay. But okay, back to these. So their radii are the same, but they're currently too small. So I'm just going to make them 10. There we go. And everything is still fine. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. So then I notice, okay, this one's not vertical. Now it's vertical. Okay, because you don't want to move things too wackily and then they can break. Okay, so as you move, try to just keep everything in its proper place. So now we add this dimension of 50 millimeters. There you go. Now these two, this should be over here. These two radii are also the same. That's indicated by this times 2. And these lines are also of equal length. I selected the point, not the line. There we go. These lines are of equal length, as you can see, times 2. And sorry, this was the times 2 for the radii, and this is for these lines. Okay, so now I can see, this is a bit of a problem. This should not be circling back already. So I'm just going to make these two horizontally aligned. So that fixes that little problem for us. Okay, now I haven't actually added in these distances yet. So this should be 10 millimeters. Wonderful. And this should have a radius of 5. Okay, now it's a bit squished. Looks a bit weird. It's fine. We're going to be adding this in right now. So 40 millimeters. There we go. Now you see that broke. And sometimes you can just fix it by doing this. There we go. If you can't, Control-Z, move it up first and then change that. But we can now just move this up. I'm just also going to move this up a little bit because it's also wonky. And I can see, okay, these aren't tangent, but they should be. So let's add that in while you notice it so that it doesn't cause problems down the line. This dimension is not specified for us, so I'll move on. But I can see that these two are the same at 25 millimeters. So add in 25 millimeters and say, okay, they should have equal radii. There we go. Now this line is also centered around this point. So point on curve. There we go. I know Dieter is a fan of using the vertical alignment. So selecting a point and another point and saying, okay, they should be vertically aligned. I just like point on curve more. It's just different modeling philosophies. You can choose whatever works the best for you. It's the same thing. Okay, so now these two lines, because you can see there's the arc and then it is a little vertical line. So on both sides, they should be 10 millimeters. So just say, okay, they are the same once more, and they should be both be 10 millimeters. There we are. Okay, so now everything's all fine over here. So now we get to this radius. It should be 40 millimeters. So let's add that in, and then it broke it. So just Control-Z. I see it was already broken here as well. So we can just pull this down. I'm going to get rid of this because we want to constrain the stuff ourselves. Now let's see if we say 40 millimeters. Yeah, there we go, it doesn't break. Wonderful. So now we can say these two vertical lines should also be 10 millimeters. I'll add them in and say, okay, 10 millimeters, not 4.5. Wonderful. It's a bit stub-nosed at the moment, but we will fix that later. Okay, so now we want to add the small radius of 10. Okay, that's a bit better already, but these two share a midpoint. So we can just select this one's midpoint. If you don't know which ones is which, you can hold your mouse on that, and if it's yellow, it will select its midpoint. So, or it will ask you, so arc center, and this one is clearly for this one, and I want to make them coincident. Now they're connected to one another. Now I just have one auto dimension, and so that's, why do we have that? Why did we not specify? We did not specify this length. This should be 40 millimeters. 40. And now this part is so far fully constrained. So now I just have to add the top faucet, or top part of the faucet. So I'm going to add two rectangles. First, the base rectangle, which has a height of 10. Enter camera. Hello, NX 10. There we go. And it has a width of 30. And as with the other one, it is point on curve with this vertical axis. There we go, fully constrained. Now we can add our little rectangle. I'm not going to worry too much about constraining it at the moment because I'm going to delete this line and it will most probably break some of our constraints. So I'm just going to continue working with this. It's something you can do if you know you're going to constrain something to a rectangle, but you're going to delete this top one. Don't constrain anything to this top line. I'll quickly show you what I mean by that. I can now connect this circle's one point to this line or the bottom line. I want to connect it to the bottom line because that one's going to stay. So click that. Yes, the start point for that line. And then the same on this side. Yes, the end point of that line. And then create my circle. It has a radius of 10, so diameter of 20. Wonderful. So I can close. What? Okay. Linux decided, nope. Let's try that again. So diameter of 20. There we go. Okay, so that's added in. So now I'm going to trim away this, and now it didn't throw away these point on curve constraints because they were constrained to these lines, not to the horizontal line. Now I want these to be the same height. It's because that constraint, that inherent constraint of rectangles got lost when I deleted that top line. But now they are the same again. And I want them to be how high? Okay, I didn't say how high I wanted them. I said how wide I want the distance between them and how high the middle point of the circle should be. So let's do that. We can add the horizontal dimension here of 10 millimeters. And we can also just say this should be point on curve because it's all in line with one another. And then we can say how high the circle should be from here up. What was that? 30, 35, 30. There we go. Let's just select this again. 30. There we are. Okay. Sketch still fully constrained. Now I just need to add the little handles of the faucet. So I'm going to add that again with the profile tool using lines. So just add arbitrarily over here. There we go. We have our 3 lines. This should be horizontally constrained with this. It should have a height of 10. 10, there we go. And it should have a distance of 35 over there. So from the middle point to this point, 35. There we go. Fully constrained. I'm going to trim away these unnecessary edges. And then I'm going to, not pattern, I'm going to mirror that. It's on connected curve, so it should select everything correctly. And from my center line, that's going to be this vertical vector. Here it mirrors it, and sketch is fully constrained. So finish, and then just move over to the front view, and there you go. That is example 1. Okay, so now regarding how we're going to make sure that you guys actually, or rather, how are we going to see who actually watches the videos. So we're going to put code words in the videos as we go along. So for this one, the code word is now going to be at the end, but for the other videos, it's going to be at a random point in the video. So you will have to actually watch through the video to find the code word. And then, after you've watched all 3 examples for each week, you send an email to your lecturer where you say, okay, video 1, this is the code word for this video, this is the code word for video 2, and the code word for video 3. And then we will know you actually watched the example. Now, obviously, this is sort of an honor system because we can't stop you from telling your friends, but we are counting on you, counting on your integrity, essentially. Because if you went through all the trouble to watch the example videos, to actually do the work, prepare for class, and now you just give them the answer to the code word, then they didn't do any of that work. You do all the work and they get all the reward, because there will be a reward at the end of the semester for the students who actually watched all the videos. So this is time to be, I'm going to say it with equals, selfish, time to look after yourself and say, okay, I'm going to do the work, I'm going to show that I do the work, and I'm not going to give these answers to my friends, because it's their responsibility to do their own work. You're actually doing them a disservice if you just give them the answers, because then they won't be prepared, and then they will not be able to do the work when it gets to homework, when it gets to tests, when it gets to the project, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to have to trust you guys on that, but we also have checks in place where we will be able to figure out if you guys are just sharing the code. So if you guys ruin it for yourselves, we will take that away, and then those of you who actually did a bunch of work to watch through all the videos, and now we gave it to your friends, you will ruin it for yourself because you won't get the reward at the end of the semester. So yeah, so please work with us on that. For this video, the code word is going to be, let's say, AirPods. That's going to be the code for this video. For the third video, Dieter forgot to add a code word. He was busy, but anyway, there is a point in that video, in the third example video, where, because he's busy with the logo of a car, where he says the wrong car brand. So it's somewhere in the video. The other car brand, the incorrect car brand that he mentioned, that is the code word for his video. Okay, so yeah, we're going to trust you guys to work with us on that. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the rest of the examples. Good luck.